Parenting with Angel Eyes family. How are you? You know I always ask that question. Yes, because I find it an honor and a privilege just to be with you guys, to spend some time with you. And like I always say, thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule to just chat and learn together. I hope your day was blessed, and maybe it was a busy one or a slow one, or just a lovely day. But whatever the day, thank you, and I'm really happy with the not happy I would say, but I'm really I've been very thoughtful with the topic that this session that we're about to speak on. I think because it really does pertain to myself too. So I'm looking forward to the chat. If you have any questions at all, please put it in the chat group. I know that if you're watching it from YouTube, you will not be able to chat again because this is a live session on our Parenting with Angel Eyes Facebook community. But let's start. I think the reason why I thought about this topic truly was because COVID-19, the impact of it on the mental health of children and teens is of great concern. There have been a lot of things you hear in the news. I'm sure you've got someone in your family, in schools, where they have had children and teens express anxiety, depression, just a whole lot of mental health issues. And when we say mental health issues, it's not something that is like alarming in itself, but just thoughts that children have had to go through and feel, having to be self-isolated, having to have had schools being closed down for such a long period, having to do online learning, having to do something new, having to be isolated from friends and some from family members. And the whole experience, it has had an impact on various lives and family groups in various ways. So yes, because of that, I would say that for myself, as a parent, during the time when the schools were closed, I became a bit relaxed in terms of how much time my children spent on social media, using technology. I think because it was really the only way of communicating to friends, and just trying to be connected really to friends and school. So I had to relax a bit, where I was very stringent in some areas. I couldn't be, and understandably, but that was for me. So as a result, I grew, my eyes at the back of my head became wider and bigger, and I was really trying to be very sensitive to what I was feeling, just opening my eyes, making sure I'm totally aware, even though they're spending longer, and some of them in their rooms for such a long time, on using technology, reaching out via their phones or their laptops, watching various films. I had to make sure I was alert. And then I did things too, because we couldn't really go out as such, and so I tried to use Netflix, and I think I've shared that before. They had some interesting things about social media on it. I think I put the title of that in one of our chat sessions. So I went through with that with them. We used that as our Sunday group discussions. There was another thing that they shared was on God. Another Netflix thing was on God and how they portrayed God in the various religions and cultures. And that too was so interesting. It provided open discussions for us to really, really talk about values, to talk about God, to talk about how society can have an impact on our thinking. You know, we had things like Big Lives Matter. We had the in America when they were voting the next president. All these discussions that came about, and I think that was really nice in itself that I had those discussions. But still, I was very, very sensitive, and I was really happy I was, because when my children were younger, it was easier to do things outside of home. You could take them to the park, you could go for walks, you know, they'll ride their bike and just ride all around the area. You don't really have to drive out. It wasn't really something interesting, but it was connecting, you know. They enjoyed the walk of nature. So it's so much easier. But then when they get older, oh my goodness, they can be very, very picky. I don't know about yours, but mine are. You know, all those going for walks, it's like as if I'm begging them now. I'm no longer the center of their world. So it gets a bit harder as to what it is you can do with them, because they've got their own schedule, especially my older one, who's now like a young adult. So it was a bit difficult really to engage in itself, like going out and having more talks, because there's only so much you can do at home. So but I wanted to make sure that I was still intentional. But it was hard, I would say. So I want to say to you parents, you know, well done. It is a challenge to be intentional. It's something that it takes effort. And sometimes it can be, if you've got other things going on in life, maybe it's health issues, or you know, you've got children, you've got more than one child and who also has a health issue, or you've just got other things in life, you know, you've got other things that you're looking at. It can be extremely hard, but like I said, there is no perfect parent and there's no perfect child. Just the heart itself is the most important thing. But still, we still have to be mindful of what our children are doing when it comes to technology. I think, like I want to say that here in the UK, in the year 2017, just read it out, Parliament, they passed a legislation that from 219 and onwards, that schools in England will teach relationship education in primary school from the ages of 5 to 11, and that they will teach relationship and sex education, RSC, in secondary school from 11 to 18. And this also in schools like academic schools, church schools, private schools. So while parents will retain the right to withdraw their children from sex education into secondary school up to the age of 16, they're not able to withdraw their children from relationship education in primary school. And I know I'm sure most of you are aware of what is being taught now to our kids. It's life and society, friendships are not the same as it was when I was growing up. Our kids are being exposed to so much more. There is so much more pressure. So many values have changed. Society has changed. The topics that they share in playgrounds have changed. It's a whole new world, really. So while it's the school's duty to comply, 2010, the Equality Act, it still can be met in a manner that is consistent to upholding the rights of parents to raise their children in line with their own religion and moral values. There is no obligation on the Equality Act for schools to promote or affirm same-sex relationships. and different family structures. However, the fact is that it's still being promoted. Our children are still being exposed to it. There's just the other day, someone sent me a link where the famous Disney channels and Nick Jr. CBBS, it's totally different. I mean, I don't have that honor of watching it all the time because, like I said, I no longer have babies. When I did, it wasn't as intense in terms of the messages that were being shared. But now, someone, they sent me the link. I watched the Muppet Show, and then the Blue. I don't know. I've never watched it before, but there's something called Blue Clues, and in it, it really was amazing to see what it is, the messages that is going out in terms of the family structure, what they're trying to tell our kids, what they're trying to, you know, desensitize our children into thinking and believing. So these talks need to happen with our children. Thinking that you can shy away from it is totally not. It can't happen. If you don't talk to your child, somebody else will talk to your child. And it may not be in line with your beliefs or your values. And it also can be very upsetting to a child's self-talk. So it's important. Therefore, like I say, open communication is important. As a trainer and a coach where I've trained various parents in terms of parenting, I'm one that truly believes in a heart-based approach. Why? Because with a heart-based approach, you're able to really truly get into the heart of your child. The Bible says that out of the abundance of the heart, it is the mouth that speaks. Psalm 19 verse 14 says, "May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight." Even God, when he was choosing a king for Israel, he said, "I look into the heart of man." It's in the heart that the wrestle begins. It's in the heart where beliefs, values, the thought of self, the capabilities, what they feel they can achieve, who they are as a person, that's where that seed begins, consciously and subconsciously. So I want us to really share on this. I'm not really an expert in it. I will be bringing an expert in terms of the technology side of it. I'm just coming from a heart-based approach on this, but somebody will be coming, a friend I've just met, and she will be sharing. She'll be doing one of the Let's Chat sessions and talking more on technology. Mine is just more of the heart-based. Why is communication important? Why is it important? Because I think for me, I've just had this whole bombard of it from having to talk to my kids a lot about it. And I said maybe, and I know why, because really of the season that they were in. And my younger one, who is 13, I've had to really make sure my eyes are on her, because children are different and their temperaments are different. They are unique. Every child is different. The way you parent one child is not the same as the way you parent another child. And as a result of that, some kids, based on their temperament, based on their personality, they're more receptive to the outside world and the thinking and feelings and the emotions. And so I'm aware of that. That's why it's good as a parent to know each child, know who they are, and that takes communication too. So it is it's hard work, really, isn't it, parents? And that's why I think sometimes we tempted to be reactive, really, where we become easily triggered if there's a behavior that we're not happy with. That self-talk that we have, that, oh my goodness, because of what has been done, this is what's going to happen to them in the future. Even though it's not a reality, it becomes real. And so we end up wanting to just talk and talk and talk and talk. And sometimes we may say things that we don't feel, maybe because, our emotions are high. And instead of getting the real message across, you could be getting across a message which says I'm naughty or I'm not loved. Maybe when you're trying to deal with the behavior, dealing with the things that you're not happy with. So it is important for these chat sessions to happen so that we are conscious of what we're doing. At the back of our mind, when we notice things that we think, oh, really and truly, this is not the way I need to react at this point in time. We can just take a breather and just refocus. So the Bible does say that making sure our children, it says when you sit down, in Deuteronomy it says use various opportunities to train your child. It says at home, out in the street, when they go to bed, when they wake up, and this pretty much covers all our life experience, all the activities of the day, and use various day-to-day opportunities and real life experiences. It's one of the best ways of teaching your child on what God says about relationships. I try as much as possible to make myself an open book. I try as much as possible to make them understand the pressures I had when I was younger. I don't make myself perfect for them, because then they may feel it's something that they can never attain to. I let them know I learn from my mistakes. It's important too that we all make mistakes in life, but you've got to learn from them. You've got to understand the reason why such things. If you're in a behavior that keeps on repeating itself, get your child, have those discussions to truly let them understand the reason why. Why are they doing it? Like sometimes it could be because if your child is in the preteens, this is a desire for that child to be independent. There's a desire within that child to fit in with their peers. So maybe that's the reason why some of the behaviors are happening. So you've got to understand the reason. Why do they think the way they do? Do they have a positive belief about themselves? Are they being bullied? There's so many things that could be going on, and that's why it's important to make sure your discussions are open. And it can only happen when there is connection, when you invite those open discussions and affirm and praise. I've done a lot on that. It's so important. Let them hear that and see that you love them just the way they are, but that the talks you have are only there because you are concerned, or because you believe that you know who they are. So whatever it is that they're struggling, really, is that you believe they will go through it. So that's where they need your support. So it should be a natural conversation we should be having. Seize those moments. So let me just say really what the internet can be a safe place. It can be a safe place for children to learn, to spend time with friends, have fun. It's in every part of childhood. I think you see babies, as soon as they say they're goo goo gaga, they know really and truly that if you give them the phone, they know how to swap, this, and the reaction that will come from it. They've seen you do it, they've watched you, they've seen your expressions, they've seen the way you chat on the phone, so they understand that it's a form of communication. I saw when one child, I remember watching it one time, very tiny little baby, when they were playing the music, the baby would dance. When they would turn it off from the phone, the baby would just, get really upset. So they now gave the baby the phone, and the baby started trying to tap the thing and trying to work it. So you see, it's a part of these children's life right now. But the discussions should still happen, and I know that children do get these deep and lengthy discussions in school, but there are various things that even as a parent you should be discussing. One is that they should prioritize safety, making sure that they don't stick up their names, details about their telephone number, which school they go to. Personal information is not shared on the internet. They should know that already, but that's just a little reminder that you tell them. They should avoid posting pictures when they're near their school, because again, it can tell them just the area where they are. Everybody that goes on the internet is not a friend. You yourself must set parental controls. So work together with your child to agree really what they can watch and what they can't. Have those discussions such that whenever you see something that is not pleasing, you've already discussed it. It's not a surprise to them. And also so that you're not just saying because I said so. There's really nothing like that word again. They need to truly understand it. Without that understanding, they cannot really follow what you're saying. Just saying no, 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 no doesn't work anymore. It really, really doesn't, parents. So, and then if you need conversation starters to broach the subject, you can go to www.childnet.com. They have some very open conversation starters about the use of the internet. Set boundaries. Agree it together. Again, state why. And let them know that they can tell you about anything that happens on the internet. Let them know this at a very young age. I think there was something that happened, I think it was 3 years ago, where children were using the internet, and this monster was, I think you can remember, this ugly monster was coming up and teaching children how to kill themselves, you know. That was a horrible time, I think, for parents. So make sure you let your child from a very early age, if they're seeing something that is not right, they should let you know. And also, if you have young children, don't let them go onto the internet by themselves. I know it's hard, but I'm going to give you some information. I'll put it through the chat, where even if it's a struggle sometimes, you have search engines, you have things that you can put on controls where they can't search certain sites, and that is very, very important too. Check if it's suitable for your child in terms of the minimum age limits for services like Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. My younger one doesn't have TikTok now. I remember I allowed her, but we set our boundaries. There was no understanding with those boundaries, so I had to take it away from her, and she understood because we've had discussions. I think discussions and letting them know their boundaries is so, so important, parents, because then you're not like the enemy when things have to be taken away from them. I'm a very relaxed parent when it comes to technology. I think maybe because my daughter, the oldest one, during her time it wasn't so intense, but now it is. For my younger one, it really, really is. And so I'm much more, there's many more controls in terms of setting boundaries. But we have the chats, we have the discussions too. So so when we're talking about it, you want to make sure, for me, when I let me just go in terms of why. I remember, no, just recently, my daughter's school, they, before the last few months before they came back into school in September, and before they went on holidays, really, they began to do RSC, religion and sex education. And I'm one of those parents that believe in school, I can do it at home. So I use that as our Sunday discussions, in terms of just watching the little videos that they gave us. We would watch it and we would discuss relationships and what true relationships is. Thankfully, she goes to a beautiful Catholic school, but still, I still had to have it so that there was an understanding, there was a discussion, and trying to understand really what was coming in our hearts. Do you know, while I was discussing with my daughters, the two of them, They didn't want to chat with me really. They thought, oh, Mom, we don't want to do this. No, no, no. Well, I still stood my ground. I had to make it fun, not too long, not too intense. And the way they answered the questions, it was like tick, 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 100%. I was even feeling a bit happy, you know. But I'm a very prayerful parent. Yes. And so I always pray this prayer. I say, God, if there's anything I need to see, open my eyes. So one day I was doing, one day I went into my younger daughter's room and I just happened to see, she was on one of the websites, and I'm like, hey, this is not right. But then you see, you don't know much until you don't know their hearts. Honestly, my daughters, if that's why there has to always be a balance. If you're too controlling, they will find a way to escape, to hide. Going underground, you won't see it. So all you're seeing is the beautiful behavior, the one that they want to portray to you. You don't see the one that's going on behind your back. Thankfully, God gave me the mercy to see. So I myself had to have discussions with her. Yes, because there were discussions that have been on for a very long time in terms of technology and the use of it, and how it is building her friendships, how it's building her self-talk. So I did the one where you do the plaster. The plaster is taking the phone, first of all, took the phone, took the laptop, took everything, had a very burning discussion, then calm myself down, remembered, Karen, this is not right. You have to really go back into talking. So we tried to connect again, though she's wasn't my friend. Still tried to, build that connection and then get to understand why. And it is in that understanding of why that we've had to have deeper communications about what it is when it comes to differentiating that not everything on the internet is real. Not everything you see where someone says, I wake up in the morning, I do exercise, I do this, I do meditation, I do these things. They could just be saying it, but you don't really know. That's just a little glimpse you have of their life. You don't have the bigger picture. But you who are watching them, you're thinking, oh, look at her, look at what she's doing, look at what she's accomplishing. Do you know really her true struggles? Is this just something that she's just doing to get more fans? I've had to have it so that she understands, and it's so much harder for babies and toddlers and children, because they themselves, everything, they don't have that capacity to discern. So everything becomes a reality, and that's why I believe that children are being captured at such a young age now. You hear things, I heard something like even in America now, children as young as 4 are being taught how to, have same sex, how to use condoms. I thought it's just ridiculous, So that's just because they're trying to desensitize the children and making it feel, the decision is theirs to make. No. So you've really got to have these chats with your child. So I had some real good chats with mine too. And so I have now put in place things that I'm trying to enable her to be able to think independently. So finding out for herself the reasons why, finding out for herself the needs she has, her self-talk, and the self-talk that is positive and the self-talk that is negative, is so important. Get to have open discussions with your children, parents, please, when it comes to technology. But there are a few guidelines that we should all take in place. In that, from 0 to 5 years old, I'm trying to go very quickly because I know time is really good. Explore together. That's the time when you have to be the one to dictate what they are using, what they're watching. You've got to be there. You've got to put the control searches on the devices. You have got to reassure them again. If they say anything upsetting, they should talk to you, and check again the suitability of the programs they're watching. So important. I think I watched a film, and it was just a Christmas one, PG. My goodness, even the PG ones now, we have to be careful. So don't leave your child alone on the TV, please, if you can. When I was younger, I'm not suggesting it, but when my children were younger, I put Veggie Tales. I pumped them with all salty. I pumped them with all these Christian videos, what's a Miss Patty Cake, because I thought to myself, let me pump them now, because very soon they would tell me it's boring. But build that foundation. My older one, she still remembers the songs. When she's going to sleep, I'll let her listen to put tapes of Bible stories in it, and she still can tell me what those Bible stories are all about. Some of them she doesn't remember, but start at a very early age. Try as much as possible to avoid the TV at that age, 0 to 5. Let them have that foundation, because they can't really say no at that foundation. It's whatever you let them do, that's what they're going to do. When from 6 to 2 years, stay involved again. Encourage them to use it in a communion, use the whatever it is, a computer, playing their games, and if possible in a place where it's easy visible, so you can hear, you can see what's going on. And then be aware of how they're using it and who they're connecting to. Again, let them know again that talking to stranger danger in terms of games and how they connect with the outside world is so important. And if they have siblings, talk to the siblings too, as to letting them be mindful of what they're watching and not showing it to the younger ones. So have those talk again with the siblings. And when they're preteens, 11 to 13, that's the time when there's a lot of independence going on. Children at this age, they already know how to use and navigate technology independently, and they've got friends now who's telling them how to be clever. So you've got to, even in primary school now, I have taught. I've been a Sunday school teacher. Worked in the nursery, worked as a nursery manager. I've worked in social clubs, school clubs, after school clubs. I have seen the talks that they've had in the playground, in the classrooms. I've had to talk to children who have shared pictures of themselves, pictures that expose their body, and I've shared it to friends or even strangers. So, and have hidden it from their parents. So, and gone into pornography at a very, very, very young age. And it's not that they want to be bad, it's just curiosity. It's like, seeing it and having a giggle, but it can be dangerous. It can get addictive. Because that's what the media is all about. It affects your brain. It becomes addictive to the sense that even putting it down, you're nervous. Because when you continue to do something over and over again, it just takes a number of days, like 2 weeks, so to speak, 21 days or 14 to 21 days, it will become a habit. And that habit can only be broken when you yourself begin to tell yourself, I'm in danger. This is not good for me. I need to stop. But children don't have that capability to make such rational decisions. It takes experience. It takes understanding that, past experience really. And they don't have that past experience like we have as adults to say this is dangerous. So they'll just keep on doing it until it becomes a habit. And until it's much, much harder to let go of. So have those discussions with them. Teens, again, is the same thing, but then they have more independence, and you've got to give them that independence. You've got to show them that you trust them, but that means you must have talked to them about boundaries. You must have talked to them about what it is that you feel what it is that could affect them, posting pictures that could affect, even, you know, if they post pictures of themselves, it could affect their future. It could affect them getting a job. So you've got to have those discussions with them, and remind them that they should only do things online that they wouldn't mind you or their teacher or anyone seeing. So get them thinking, but show them you trust them too. Our website has information on the resources on internet safety. I'm going to put that for you. But like I said, discuss with your children, please. Have those discussions. Do not shy away from it when it comes to internet usage. And it's not only just the discussions as don't do this, don't do that. Find out what it is that they are thinking about, what they're feeling about themselves, their self-image that they're developing, their self-talk that they're developing. The kind of things are they watching? Is it affecting the way they choose their friends? Is it affecting the way that they think about God? Is it affecting their inner beliefs or their fashion, or just who they are as a person? Make sure you take time to have those discussions, parents. It's so important. I am doing it even as I'm sitting here now with my children. It's harder when they're 18. They're moving off to university, but at least you've set the foundation. So it's never too late if you haven't. Well, this is me now. My chats I have to end, unfortunately. But we will continue this topic again. Like I said, I am inviting someone. I'm going to leave links where you can have some of the websites that are really good in terms of really educating yourself on the internet, usage of the technology and the internet. So have a lovely, lovely weekend. God bless you. And I pray that the Lord will just continue to give us the strength, the wisdom, the understanding to really just continue with this parenting journey with joy and intent. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.